All right, DC fans, we are off and running today. We got to talk about Supergirl, which looks like, according to the Hollywood Reporter, will be the next installment of the DCU to come at us. Lanterns might come out after Supergirl. That's what it's looking like. So Supergirl in June is what we're getting next. I would guess we're going to get a teaser in the next few weeks, probably around December, probably on the same trajectory as Superman was. I don't know, but that's what I'm guessing at this current time. However, David Krumholtz, who will be playing Zor-El in Supergirl, has been talking, and now we are going to talk about it. Hello everyone, welcome to Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new to the channel and a fan of the DCU, hit that subscribe button. I talk about it and discuss it with you guys all the time right here on the channel. And let me know your thoughts of Supergirl. This movie, Supergirl, that's coming out in June. Let me know what you're thinking about. What are your thoughts on this movie? I've heard a lot of people say that's not something that I really care about. I am very curious what they're going to do with Supergirl, how they're going to get the mainstream viewers to go and see a Supergirl movie, especially on the decline of superhero movies as they've been in the last few years. I'm really curious what that outcome is going to be, but I think it's going to be a really good movie, to be honest. I think it's going to be a very solid movie. I think that's why it's getting made. James Gunn said the script was amazing. I think the film is going to live up to the script, so I think we're in for a real treat with Supergirl. I mean, it all remains to be seen. I haven't seen any footage. We've only got that little tease poster of it, and of course her cameo in Superman. But other than that, we really got nothing about Supergirl to go on. But David Krumholtz was talking, and now we're going to talk. And David Krumholtz, if you don't know, was in 10 Things I Hate About You, and of course, the Santa Claus. He'll be playing Zor-El, Supergirl's father in Supergirl. He did an interview on Nerdtropolis, and he dropped a quote that, if you really sit with it, gives away the core philosophy of where the DCU is headed. He said, quote, "It's very true to the graphic novel that it's based on, Woman of Tomorrow." Very true. Which is great. Plus, Lobo, which I can say everybody knows that Jason Momoa is playing Lobo in it, so it's that comic plus Lobo. I'll just say that I'm thrilled to be in the next piece of telling the story of Krypton and further clarifying what the House of El is all about. That's the line I want to talk about. Clarifying what the House of El is all about. What does that mean? Because if Gunn's whole chapter 1 is called Gods and Monsters, then the L's are front and center in that concept. Superman, Supergirl, Zor-El, Alora, they're not just characters, they're the mythic family of the center of Gunn's entire cosmology. So when Krumholtz says he's helping clarify what the House of El is all about, it's not just a throwaway actor line, it's a signal that the DCU is redefining what Krypton's legacy actually is. In Superman, we already know there's that twist. Jor-El and Lara sending Kal-El to Earth, not simply as a survivor, but potentially as a ruler, a savior with an agenda. That changes everything we thought we knew about Superman's origin. It injects moral complexity. It shades his mission with ideology. And that's where Zor-El comes in. Zor-El is Jor-El's brother. He's the other half of the family tree. If Jor-El represents the vision of Krypton's survival through dominance, Zor-El might represent its preservation through empathy. So when Krumholtz says clarify, what he's talking about is perspective. The first film gives us Jor-El's worldview. The next gives us Zor-El's. Supergirl, in that light, becomes the balancing force that defines what the El name actually stands for. And that's where Gunn's world building becomes pretty good. Instead of dumping all of Krypton's backstory into one movie, he's letting the myth evolve across films. Superman is our entry point into the legend. Supergirl is the moral commentary on that legend. We learn that Krypton was what the House of El stood for, and what happens when two branches of the same family carry two very different interpretations of power. We learn what Krypton was, what the House of El stood for, and what happens when two branches of the same family carry two very different interpretations of power. That word clarify, it also implies something deeper. There's confusion. The House of El isn't a static symbol anymore. It's an evolving philosophy. Maybe in this universe, it's not just the House of Hope, it's the House of Responsibility, legacy, even maybe guilt. We've always known Superman's crest means hope, but what if Gunn's version turns that on its head? What if the symbol has been misinterpreted for generations and Kara as the one who has to rediscover what it truly means? Krumholtz's excitement tells you this isn't just a cameo or a side note. He calls himself the next piece of telling Krypton's story. That means Superman is part 1, Supergirl is part 2. Krypton's history isn't a flashback, it's a living, breathing thread in the DCU's foundation. It's the myth that everything else will eventually orbit. You can't get to Lanterns, the Authority, Swamp Thing, or even Batman's arc without understanding how this universe defines godhood. And the L's could be that definition. The House of L in Gunn's DCU might be the prototype of what it means to be both divine and flawed. They're the gods and monsters, so when Krumholtz says clarify, he's also hinting that Supergirl will show us the difference between divinity and arrogance, between being born powerful and choosing to be righteous, because those aren't the same thing, and the DCU looks ready to explore that distinction. Now add in the Lobo element, with Momoa playing him in Supergirl, because it's fascinating. In the original pitch for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, writer Tom King actually wanted Lobo in the story. The book we got doesn't have him. The editors in DC told King to cut Lobo and instead make Supergirl the hardened, morally gray character herself. But the idea of pairing Supergirl with Lobo was there from the start. That would have been a True Grit style dynamic. An innocent idealist traveling with a violent, jaded bounty hunter who forces her to confront what morality really means out in the cold of space. Now, this film is actually going to bring that idea back. Lobo's inclusion reintroduces the contrast King originally envisioned. Only now, it's on a bigger scale. You've got Supergirl, the legacy of the House of L, raised in the ruins of Krypton's ideology, and Lobo, a literal galactic outlaw who doesn't believe in anything but the next paycheck. That's not just a cool matchup, it's a philosophical mirror. Kara represents heritage and purpose, Lobo represents chaos and freedom. One clings to the meaning of a family crest, and the other couldn't care less about lineage. Their interaction becomes a perfect arena to explore exactly what Krumholtz is talking about, the clarification of what the House of L really is. So while the movie's adapting Woman of Tomorrow, it's also reviving the original DNA that the comic left on the cutting room floor. And that's important. It tells you this version of Supergirl won't just be faithful, it'll be contextual. It'll take the comic's tone and fuse it with the DCU's larger cosmic questions. Here's the real takeaway. Gunn isn't just making individual character films, he's building generational myth. Each chapter is another perspective on power and morality. Superman shows the god trying to live among humans. Supergirl shows the alien trying to live up to a family name. One explores identity through humility, the other through inheritance. And that's how you clarify the House of L. You show that it's a legacy defined by the choices of its members. And Supergirl is going to be a lot grittier than Superman. It's not going to be it'll be family friendly, but not as, Saturday morning cartoon that Superman was, according to James Gunn, according to early reports. Obviously, we haven't seen anything from it. Like I said, I'm suspecting we're going to see something in probably about a month's time, sometime in December, maybe closer towards Christmas Day. I think we got around the 17th or 19th, somewhere around there. We got the first Superman tease. I think Supergirl, they'll probably use the same game plan for it. It makes sense. It worked for Superman. Why not do it for Supergirl? I think once we get that trailer, I think you're going to see excitement for this film really escalate. I think once we get the first look at Supergirl in action, and I think Lobo, I think the appearance of Lobo, whether or not they showed in the first one, I think they might though. I think they're really going to want to get the wheels turned, to get the juices flowing on this thing. And I think showing Lobo in the first look of Lobo in that, I think it's going to blow people's mind. Apparently, it's going to look extremely comic accurate. I mean, Jason Momoa already does. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to get, what the story is going to be. We know it's going to be Woman of Tomorrow. Apparently, it covers it very closely, but there's going to be differences. And that is really what I'm curious about, is what those differences are going to be and how it's going to connect to Salvation. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate your time. Hit the like button and subscribe. Until next time, may you be the master of your own universe.